My best friend faked my death online for Instagram likes, so I exposed her lies to everyone. A year later, she's back, crying at my doorstep, begging me to fix her ruined reputation. When I first got to college, I expected it to be the college experience that the movies always talk about. Instead, I spent my first month eating completely alone in the hallways, feeding my TikTok scrolling addiction to help myself feel less like a loser LMAO. Every night I went to sleep fantasizing about dropping out, but I knew my immigrant parents would completely crash out if I ever dared to bring that up, so I just ranted in my notes app LOL. So this is the state I was in when I met Ava. She saw me sitting alone one day and told me she liked my shoes, and from there, our friendship was born. She even added me to the Snapchat group chats. Whenever I posted on Instagram, I felt so cool because I'd get dozens of comments from girls in high school and college hyping me up. There was just one red flag. Ava was obsessed with her social media presence, like really obsessed. One time we went out for brunch, and as I was about to put my bacon in my mouth, she grabbed my wrist and made me put everything down so she could take a photo. At the time, I didn't mind because she had 15,000 followers that she needed to update, but she ended up trying to find the right angle for almost a full hour. But I figured that if this was her only flaw, then that was okay. Soon our friendship developed into one of those codependent bestie friendships that basically feels like a relationship. If we weren't hanging out in person, then we'd be on FaceTime. But she was about to become my biggest op. That summer, I invited her to my family holiday. There was just one thing I was extremely worried about: my autistic brother. He was the type of boy to apologize to the playground swing when it was too dirty for him to use, the type to wave his hands and excitedly scream "hello" to every pigeon he passed by. But Ava really made it seem like she was completely fine with everything. She even got him an expensive toy dinosaur as a late birthday gift. On the first day of the trip, he spent an hour arranging napkins into perfect triangles. In the process, he ended up knocking Ava's designer sunglasses on the floor. They didn't even scratch, but I guess it was still enough to annoy her because she ended up posting a photo of them to her story. "This is why all autistic kids should be put down," was the caption. She even photoshopped a crack into her lens for dramatic effect. "It's my Instagram page, I can post what I want," is all she said when I confronted her. Her tone was so entitled that I swear I thought she was pranking me, but then she turned her body around and went back to doom scrolling. Well, I had heard dozens of stories about how going on holiday with your bestie will always cause fights, and I was determined to disprove that. I had no idea how bad things were about to get. We were by the beach when a couple were taking wedding photos nearby. I was extremely proud of Tommy, because if it was that time a year ago, he would have run up to the couple and tried to join the photos. But now he was just sitting still, smiling wide and playing with the sand. Well, that's when we were hit with the wrath of Ava. When the couple were done taking pictures, Ava grabbed their balloon display to take photos. Cool. Until one of her ugly, freakishly long acrylics accidentally popped one. Tommy immediately tensed up and screamed. When I glanced over at Ava, I expected her to look guilty, or at least stop touching the balloons. But no. Instead, she had this evil smirk on her face like she was some sort of little gremlin. And as soon as I managed to calm Tommy down, she popped another, and another. In the 10 seconds, she had popped 5 more balloons. Too loud, Tommy was screaming, while hitting his head with his fists. It wasn't until I shoved sand into Ava's charging port that she finally stopped. I didn't speak to Ava for the rest of the day, and I was ready to spend my savings on buying her an early flight home. That's when I got the text. It was my mother. Up to this point, we hadn't seen her and my dad all day because it was their wedding anniversary. She sent me a screen recording of Ava's Instagram story. It was a video of Tommy having a meltdown, captioned with "me when the plug cancels on me." And as if that wasn't bad enough, in the next post, she put up a poll saying, "Should we leave him here or nah?" with the only voting options being yes and absolutely. Luckily, my mom was just as angry as me. So her next message was a QR code of the flight she had booked Ava for the next morning. And the second Ava hopped in the Uber to the airport, I blocked her on everything. That evening, my phone was completely blowing up. Everyone was texting saying they had no idea I was struggling with my health. So I made a fake account to check Ava's story. Yep, there it was. A photo of me lying in bed completely photoshopped with AI to make it look like I was on death's doorstep, alongside a GoFundMe link to support my chemotherapy for stage 3 lung cancer. I pinched the bridge of my nose and sighed, because there was one thing Ava didn't know. I would do anything to avenge my brother. I immediately called GoFundMe to report the fraudulent campaign. They took it down within hours, but the damage was already done. Screenshots were circulating, and people were messaging me asking if I was really dying. Some were even angry, thinking